Hi guys, Newbie streamer Zychotica here, and today we're going to talk about my experiences with the GoXLR Mini. The GoXLR Mini is a product of TC Helicon and is basically a smaller version of its bigger brother, the GoXLR. The GoXLR is essentially, in their own words, an online broadcast mixer with USB audio interface and meters preamp. So it's basically a USB audio interface and a mixer in one package. This can be pretty convenient if you don't have a room with space enough for like a big setup. As we can see here, on the face of the GoXLR Mini there are 4 faders, all pre-labeled. So channel 1 is pre-labeled mic, channel 2 is pre-labeled chat, channel 3 which is pre-labeled music, and channel 4 which is pre-labeled system. Now these can all be changed in the app. So system, for instance, doesn't have to control the system audio being output. It can also control headset audio for instance. Below the faders there are 4 channel mute buttons, so you can mute the different outputs. Below the mute buttons on the left side there is a self-censor button, which is pretty use, and on the right is a mute button. Bear in mind that this mute button is not a hard mute, so you will have to hold down the button for the duration you want to be muted. On the front of the GoXLR Mini there are 2 3.5mm connections, an input and an output connection for your headset. On the back, the GoXLR is a USB connection 2.0, type B. There's a line in and line out connection, and of course there's the XLR for your condenser mic or dynamic mic. If your microphone requires 48 volt phantom power, it is supported by the GoXLR Mini. For the GoXLR Mini and the GoXLR to even work, you need to go to TC Helicon's website and download the GoXLR app. Both machines are wholly dependent on the app running, otherwise it won't function properly. This is one of the shortcomings of my experience with the GoXLR Mini. But first let's have a look at the GoXLR app and what it actually has to offer and what you can control from within the program. When you first go into the GoXLR app, you're introduced to the profile page. There's a red profile, which changes all the lighting to red. Then there's a teal blue profile, the wave profile. And then there's the sleep profile, which basically just turns all the light off. Some users have been complaining about not being able to turn the GoXLR lighting off when shutting down their computer, but this is one way to turn off the lighting of the GoXLR Mini. Another thing you can do, which I usually do anyway, is to turn off the power on your PSU, because some internals of my PC, like the motherboard for instance, still receives power when the PC is just shut down. And at the bottom you can save active profiles, you can create new profiles with default settings, you can copy the active profile, you can delete active profile. If we move on to the mic tab, you can see there's a mic setup, a gate, equalizer and compressor. The gate is basically a noise gate, which means that everything below the threshold is muted. The equalizer is used to color your voice, which basically means you can customize the levels of the different frequencies of the sound. Compressor is used to make a more homogenic relation between your high noises and your low noises, and it basically compresses it together. So the low noises will become higher and the high noises will be turned down however you set your threshold ratio, attack, release and makeup. All of these different tabs can be opened for more advanced customization. When you press the mic setup tab, you can see that there is option to choose dynamic, condenser, which is powered by plus 48 volt or 3.5mm microphone. This is where you control the gain of the preamp, and to the right of the gain slider there's a mic meter, which basically is going to help you to set up the mic so it's calibrated to the proper input level. If we go back to the mixer tab, in the bottom left corner the different channels are represented. So you can see here that channel 1 is being highlighted on the GoXLR LR Mini illustration, channel 2, channel 3 and channel 4 as well. To the right of the channel there's a menu called source, which is basically the different inputs and outputs that the different channels are going to control. So for channel 1 you can see it controls the mic level, channel 2 at the moment controls the chat level, channel 3 controls the music level. So as you can see here, the different channels control different source inputs and outputs. As I mentioned earlier, the different channel faders can control different inputs and outputs. So for instance, channel 3 doesn't have to control the music output. It can also control the headphones, which is actually the setting outputted to. One of the smart features of the GoXLR Mini is that to the right of the faders menu there's a mute menu. So what this basically means is that if you only want your chat stream to hear at any given time what you are saying, you can set the mute button to mute the voice chat. So for instance, your Discord can't hear you talking to your stream. Next we have the lighting settings, where you can customize your different channel colors, what type of color you want, gradient or meter, and also what colors you want your mute buttons to be. One, if not the biggest attraction of the GoXLR Mini is the routing option. Now initially it might seem quite intimidating, but it's actually really simple. As you can see at the top you have your different inputs. To the left side you can see the different outputs. So it's very clever, the routing option or the routing system. Basically what you can choose is what outputs your inputs are going to. So for instance, if you want to monitor your mic for making balancing tweaks and just in general listening if the audio is okay, so you basically take a look at the routing table, find the mic input field, then line that up with the headphone output field and make a check mark and basically click inside the box. Another clever thing you can do is, for instance, if you're on Discord and you want to share a song or maybe play some audio for the other Discord members, what you can do is take your music or system audio input and then output it to chat mic. In that way the Discord is going to hear what you're hearing. Lastly, we have the system tab, which basically comprises of mic setup, tutorial, how to support, software update, about GoXLR, third-party info, analytics, and global settings, and all of these are somewhat self-explanatory. Okay, so all these things seem well and fine. So why exactly is it that I've titled this this video "Why I'm Returning the GoXLR"? Because basically there are some flaws that were kinda game-changing for me, or game-breaking. First of all, you will have to manually go to TC Helicon's homepage and download the app for the GoXLR Mini, which is not a big deal. It's basically just a few clicks away, and I will link to their homepage in the description down below. Then you get to actually launch the app. It's gonna ask you whether you want to update or not, and of course, as per usual, you want to stay up to date. As soon as the app had updated, it was working fine for maybe 5 minutes, and then the crashes began. I almost didn't have enough time to save profiles because it just kept crashing, and I basically had to restart the program all over again. That's one of the major flaws. Now, bearing that in mind, TC Helicon actually came out recently with a firmware update and an app update, which seems to have fixed that problem because I didn't have any crashes since the update. But there are still minor bugs and weird kind of issues with the GoXLR Mini. For instance, it doesn't seem to have any internal memory. If you have your faders set to, let's say, 50%, and let's say you turn off the PC for the day. So the next time you start the GoXLR app up and you start your PC and everything, it seems to have this weird issue where the GoXLR faders doesn't remember where you put them at last time you turned off the app and the machine. In the app, the fader is actually at, let's say, 60 or 70%. You can't just move the fader, first of all, from the 50% position and then go, let's say, down to 45. It won't budge. It doesn't register that you're moving the fader. You have to go all the way up to the 60 or 70%, like where it's actually thinking it should be. And then you can move it down again, and it will register that you're moving the fader again. And I've heard other people talk about this on YouTube as well. Now, audio, of course, is key both on YouTube and on streaming, and you want the best audio quality as you can get. But to me and my setup, at least, the GoXLR did not improve the audio. It almost worsened it. So let me give you a demonstration of the audio quality between my old setup and the new with the GoXLR Mini. So this is a test with my old setup, and it's a clean test, so there are no noise gates, there's no compressions, there's no equalizing. The mic is of course hooked into the preamplifier, which is then in turn hooked into the audio interface. So it basically has the same kind of signal chain that the GoXLR inhabits. So now we are on the GoXLR, and I've basically set it so the audio signal reaches the same as my old setup then, so in the green range on the audio mixer window. And as you can hear, there's a lot more white noise because we basically have to put the gain up to 60 decibel, and I believe that the Windows mic volume is also set to around 80 to 100%. Now I'm not sure whether this is due to the preamp making a lot of sound in the GoXLR Mini when it's amped up this high. It could also be due to the microphone being quite loud. And the last option is of course that the internals of the PC makes a lot of interference and static noise, but compared to my old setup, this definitely has a lot more white noise. Now if I turn down the mixer, the white noise does disappear, but in turn the general volume also lowers a bit too much for my liking. So as you can clearly hear, the quality of the audio going through my condenser microphone with the GoXLR Mini is significantly worse than with my old setup. And I know that you can tweak a lot, and you can put a noise gate on, you can put the equalizer on and the compressor, but trust me when I say I tried all of these things, and I'm not a sound engineer or anything like that. I don't really think that with a consumer-based item or product like this, that you would have to need to have some like degree in audio engineering or something like that to be able to properly use it. Of course, there's always like an incentive to go into learning about how to handle different issues when it comes to audio or video production and all of these things, but as an out-of-the-box experience and with tinkering, which I did quite a bit of because I couldn't get it to work, I don't think it's worth the money as of yet. I am also quite clear about the fact that TC Helicon can still improve a lot of things on the GoXLR and the GoXLR Mini in terms of their software, because a lot of the issues that came from my experience was software related as well, and all of these can be patched, I would think anyway. So not all hope is lost, and if the positive things like the routing options, the headset output audio quality, like when you have to monitor your sound and everything, that's quite good. And the idea behind the GoXLR is also quite good. It's just that for me, the execution and the value of the quality that I got out of it, relative to the money that I put into it, it's not quite worth it yet. If they improve it, or maybe if they come out with another version which is gonna be even more improved, yeah, sure, why not? Maybe give it another try. But I think as a new streamer like myself, you should not prioritize getting a GoXLR. It's not worth it. Like, go get a better webcam, or like a better microphone, maybe an extra monitor, something like that, something that can improve your stream. Because the GoXLR, even though it can improve your stream, it's more beneficial to you than it is to the one watching you. And it's always the audience that is the most important part of your stream. Because even with a C270 webcam, you can do quite well if you have an audience. And you can have, like, I got a Logitech C920 now, which is significantly better. Handles low lighting a lot better than the C270, which got a lot more grainy than the C920 does. But like, without an audience, it doesn't really matter too much. So build up that audience first, get your audio, like the basics of your audio, get that fixed before you go into like new territory with other equipment. Because it's very easy to go, I don't know, equipment blind and just shop, you know. And for a lot of people, especially new streamers on a budget like myself as well, you really have to like cherry pick these different things that are most important to you. So there's a lot of prioritization going into what items you want to improve your stream initially. So that's it, guys. That was my experiences with the GoXLR Mini and why I am returning it. As a matter of fact, I returned it this morning, so I'll just have to wait for confirmation from Amazon. So remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content in the future coming from a newbie streamer, maybe like yourself, and you can learn from my mistakes. And hopefully, maybe if you have some tips for me, I would be happy to listen in as well, reading your comments. So comment down below with everything you got, and I'll see you guys next time. So, sigh out.